Hey friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead, and our leftover makeover pantry pull meal is a one-pan meatloaf supper. Here's what we got. We have 1.5 pounds of extra lean hay-fed ground beef, 2 eggs. I gave my chives and my green onions a haircut. Yes, canned carrots and potatoes. Now here is last night's leftover spaghetti and some bread. And I'm going to put these in the blender, just like that, and we'll be back. Okay, so here's our skillet. There we go. And here is, I also threw my dried breadcrumbs from the freezer in here. This is the leftover spaghetti noodles, the leftover sauce, bread and breadcrumbs, and 2 eggs. Now I'm going to do this a little bit fancier than I would do a normal meatloaf because it's going to be a big one. Let's get this all out of here. Okay. 2 eggs, leftover sauce and spaghetti, 2 slices of bread, and a cup of dry breadcrumbs. And in goes our extra lean ground beef. Our oven is preheated to 375 degrees. Put some onion in there. Now, for seasoning, obviously, or maybe not so obviously, because of the spaghetti, we're going to add Italian seasoning to our meatloaf, some garlic, pepper, 2-finger pinch of salt. Now, before I get mixing this, I've got my skillet here, and I'm going to spray it with avocado oil. And I have this cake form pan here. It's got no bottom in it, it's just the form. And I'm going to line the sides, there's our oven, with parchment. And we're going to set that in the center of our skillet. I'm going to mix this up. And this extra lean ground beef, I'll tell you what, between the eggs and the breadcrumbs and the noodles, that's going to soak up a lot. Now you just want to make sure this is really well mixed. We're not adding anything else like ketchup or anything because we put spaghetti sauce in here. All right, now we want to make sure that your cake pan is as centered as possible. And we're going to start dropping our meatloaf in there. This, just like that. I'm going to press that right down into this cake pan form. Remember, there's no bottom on this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to use the same bowl. Just going to give it a wipe out. We're going to dump in our potatoes and our carrots. I always drain them and then put them on paper towel just to soak up a lot of the water. Why? Because we want the olive oil to stick. So we're going to put a little bit of olive oil in here. And our chives. You guys were telling me my last meal didn't have any onions in it for Howard. Well, it has it in the meatloaf. But here's what we're going to do. That's our onions and our chives. Is that a good drink of water, Gracie? And a 1-finger pinch of salt because our vegetables were canned in salt. And we're just going to toss this just like this. With the seasonings. We almost forgot the garlic, didn't we? And if we didn't, if we did remember the garlic, well, garlic's a garlic. We can always add more. Howard's up on the roof. A little bit more Italian seasoning, just a little bit. Doesn't need a lot. I mean, the combination between the garlic, the Italian seasoning, and the onions and chives and the olive oil is going to be magnificent. So let's bring our skillet back over here, center that. And now we're just going to put these all around that, like this, and this, right? Now, we'll make sure they're all kind of evenly around. That's why we coated the oil and the pan. I'm going to take the rest of this from the top here. Well, let's just wait. Now, let's push this down through. Take off our paper, and look, ta-da! There is our meatloaf in this beautiful form, shape. Now, let's put that on top like that. Yes, indeedy. We're just gonna grate a little bit of Parmesan all over top. If it hits the veg, that's okay too. It's going to make kind of a bit of a crust on the top. Look at that. This is going into a 375-degree oven for about 35 to 40 minutes. Okay, I got to tell you folks, this has been smelling amazing. Look at that. Ow! Frig! Let's cut right down the middle of this meatloaf. Oh no, Gracie. I think not. Look at that. Look at that. Just because all you have is carrots and potatoes doesn't mean it can't be a beautiful dish in a different way. Let's see what Father has to say about that. This can be cooled and frozen for another meal. You might want to maybe take it out of the freezer, put it in the crock pot with some vegetables around it and a can of gravy. Or you can have it for sandwiches, because that's a lot of sandwiches. That's like 4 or 5 sandwiches. How many more rows of shingles did you get done?
Almost all 4 of the bundles.
Awesome. This is Cadillac meatloaf. It is 1 pan meatloaf with roasted veggies. You'd never know there was leftover spaghetti and sauce in there, would you?
It's awesome.
You know what? Yeah, we all know what we're waiting for. Oh, meatloaf. Yeah. Thanks, baby. And thanks for putting more shingles on the roof tonight. Right after work. God love you. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead saying, yes, it was 1.5 pounds of burger, but that's going to do us at least 2 meals. And that was a Cadillac of meatloaf. Meatloaf, leftover makeover, 1 pan wonder. Whatever you want to call it. Take care, God bless. Mwah.